I'm not saying you haven't had a beautiful, abundant, peaceful life as well with money, but I would bet to say that you've also experienced stress and overwhelm with money
for sure,
more than having no money. And a lot of people get blocked because they know that like, oh, more money, more problems is another like money lie, right? Or a money like wound that people might have. Like, I don't want to make more money because I see people who do have money, they're constantly stressed. They're not generous with it. They're stingy. They don't even tip at all. They're even more stingy with it, and they have it. So what's the point of having it if they're not generous? I don't want to be like that. And there can be money traps or money wounds when you have money if you haven't learned how to heal that relationship. And so it's learning how to heal the relationship so that when you grow your net worth, you also increase your self-worth inside and feel peaceful about it. You expand your nervous system, your container to receive abundantly so that it's not scary, it's not stressful. You can receive more and you can give more because you know that the more you relax, the more you receive. And when you give, it's going to come back in some way. I struggled with that. My first 6, 7, 8 years of making money, I hoarded money because I was afraid to go broke again.
Yeah.
And it limited me in certain ways, and it made me feel stressful. And it made me feel like people were trying to take advantage of me and take my money. It doesn't feel rich having money and living in scarcity still.
There was a beautiful thing that we'd always repeat in the monastery. It was like, God doesn't see what you give, God sees what you hold back.
Ooh.
And so there's not this,
man.
you know, because we can sometimes become egotistical about how much we give. And it's like, well, you got one hand behind your back. And that's, you just made that point. It's that pinch. It's that, are you giving where there's a challenge to give?
Yeah.
Because that's where we're healing. You can get really egotistical. Like, hey, if you were worth $1 billion and you signed $1 million check, like I know people that are making $3 million in interest a day. Like, so you writing $1 million check is not the same. This also applies when you have very little. So my parents who didn't make a lot, when they were giving,
it felt like a lot.
It felt like a lot. And so like what we're saying is that this thought of being a giver has to be core to us.
You know, my dad was a lot like that too.
Yeah.
He had strangers knocking on the door that somehow convinced him to stay with us for like 3 months in the summer. Who were, and he just opened his doors and said, yes, like, okay. And so he was just like your parents, like, okay, you need a place to stay for a week, a month, 2 months. Cool. We'll figure it out. We'll feed you. We'll do this. As long as we feel like you're doing something good and we're trying to support you. And I think you don't have to give money to feel rich.
Yes.
You can be very generous with your time, with your resources in other ways, with your food. It's like you can give in other ways and create a richness of life. And that's the key, is to